Hi, I'm Heather Schreck, Pledge Drive and Special Events Manager with Free Speech TV. We are coming to you here from our studio in Denver, Colorado, and we want to welcome you to this spot, which we're doing for International Women's Day, but also Women's History Month, celebrating here in March. And I want to introduce you to some of our female staff members.
I'm Yolanda Williams with Free Speech TV. I am the controller.
I'm Marie Medina, and I'm the administrative assistant.
And I'm Caroline Briggs, and I'm the acquisitions and documentary coordinator.
And as it is International Women's Day, but also Women's History Month, we are here to celebrate the staff here, but we also have an incredible spot planned for you. But before we launch into that, we just want to, get to know our staff a little better with a couple questions. So my first question is, who is your role model as a woman?
My role model are my grandmother and my mother, very strong women.
My role model is also my grandmother. She moved to Denver in the 1940s to go to business school as a Mexican-American woman. That was completely unheard of at the time, so she's my inspiration for continuing that legacy.
And while I would be remiss, Mother, to say that you are not a huge role model in my life, just like these women, I do think that working for a couple of years here at Free Speech TV, I just love Elizabeth Warren. She's not just a symbol, but she actively works to help all women. And, I wouldn't be able to love Elizabeth Warren if it weren't for my mother teaching me about the very important pillars of feminism.
Nice. For myself, it's the women in my life. Women I work with, you all inspire me and challenge me, ones who are not here with me, but also women worldwide, especially working in conflict regions, Malai Joya, Revolutionary Association for the Women of Afghanistan, or RAWA, women who challenge themselves but also take great risk in speaking out. So the next question is, as International Women's Day, the theme is Make It Happen this year. So what would you like to tell our audience, or challenge our audience, or what would you like women to do to make it happen?
Personally, for myself, I think that strength is very important. A lot of times life has a way of beating you down. And so my advice would be just to remain strong and do whatever it takes to recoup.
I think there are a lot of amazing grassroots organizations out there that are already supporting women. They just need your support out there. They need you to find them and to donate to them and to stand with them in solidarity and to continue that fight, and especially to men. We mother you, we sister you, we're your daughters and aunts. We need your support, and we need it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this idea of like a call to action is really important. You look at somebody like Medea Benjamin, who continues, I don't know how she gets allowed into places in DC sometimes, but man, you get up there with Code Pink and you really see that, that grassroots activism, speaking truth to power. She is such an inspiration. And as much as I want to ask Bernie Sanders, I want to challenge Bernie Sanders to bring Elizabeth Warren onto his presidential ticket. I think that it really starts from the bottom up. I think that activism, whether it's, working with an organization for women's health care issues like Planned Parenthood, there are people that are just on the street signing petitions for that. Or, if you have the opportunity to go to D.C. and, talk to the State Department about what they've done wrong. But, even just having conversations like this with other women in your life, your family, your friends, I think that without the strength that women pull together, and especially asking for male allies, from that very bottom level up, there wouldn't be a movement. So, I think that here at Free Speech TV, though, I would like to, ask our viewers out there if they have any documentary suggestions for me about, some of those documentaries about women can really, if somebody just stumbles onto freespeech.org or on our DirecTV, Dish Network, or Roku, and they see a movie about women like the love of beer. I mean, it's a simple movie about beer, but underneath it, you really see a woman who, she's pregnant, she's starting her own business, she's got an amazing husband, and she's just moving at like 1,000 miles an hour, and even with kind of what that looks like from the outside in, it's just like about drinking beer. It's really about how women, when they put their mind to it, are really unstoppable.
And yeah, I think for myself, I would like to see a continuing groundswell of women involvement, women treating women better, acting as a sisterhood. I think that's where our power is. And speaking of which, it is now time to move on to the rest of the spot. We are very honored that V-Day, which is the Stop the Violence Against Women campaign, had allowed us to show you their short, 1 Billion Rising for Justice. Followed by that, you'll see some incredible footage from the 1 Billion Rising event here in Denver, Colorado this year. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay strong, ladies. Make sure to make it happen. And thank you so much for your support.
Happy International Women's
Along the way, what happened was that there was this whole issue of the whole world coming in unison. In unison, everywhere you touch, you either check the internet, you read the papers, call the countries, you hear everybody talking about 1 billion rising against violence against women, 1 billion rising for justice, and so many other issues that relate to violence against women. That is sort of magical. The energy was so extraordinary that the whole world was rising, and it actually forced those who were giving deaf ears or those who were taking for granted some of the issues affecting women to recognize the fact that on the whole world is now speaking and we have to listen.
I think one of the most profound things we've seen is 1 Billion Rising, that after 15 years of our movement, we were able to put out a call that was just an invitation for women and men to rise and dance and resist violence against women across the planet. And that call was taken up, and actually each community made it their own. Each community took it to the places they wanted to take it and create this global solidarity and force of energy that really made violence against women central stage.
My father once said, our lives begin to end the day we remain silent about the things that matter.
We rise, dance, and shout to the top of our voices because our rights are being violated.
Yes!
Girls from our families are seen like a source of income.
Yes!
We stand to say no.
I'm rising because I'm one of those individuals, one of the billion women that have been sexually assaulted, and I have been stigmatized for being sexually assaulted. I'm rising for not just for myself, for the future of society. We need to put an end to this.
We had a huge crowd, a lot of people that I've never worked with before, to whom this was an eye-opener, and I think it was important. We had trade unions who wouldn't work on women's issues before, who joined and felt that it was part of what they need to do.
There was a focus to justice for women who survived rape during the wars in the 90s. 20 years later, women did not get any recompensation for the sufferings during the war, and we started a huge campaign that would end up, I think, with one of the very good laws that could be hopefully copied wherever there are conflicts and wars.
We have a garbage site called Payatas. 2 years before, women couldn't even go on the site unless they were scavenging. And we all heard that young girls as young as 9 had to sell their bodies to the authorities who were handling the dump site in order to have the right to scavenge on it. This year, because of 1 Billion Rising, we've seen such a huge shift happening in this garbage dump because the women collective really rose up together. They called in the authorities to really say, look, we have to stop this practice because it's harmful to our girls. We're going to work towards giving women and girls here dignity. So now the authorities have a a watchdog scenario where they're ensuring that no woman or girl is getting harmed in the process of them working economically in that place.
No es fácil coordinar muchas veces con todos los sectores, no es fácil tener a todas las religiones involucradas en un mismo tema. Sin embargo, 1 Billón de Pie ha logrado que esto ocurra.
Justice has been part of our struggles all the time because we have always struggled against injustice. So we've been asking for justice, equality, peace, and democracy. This time, when the entire world together through 1 Billion Rising asked for justice, it obviously became bigger.
Yo soy mamá de Georgina Ivonne Ramírez Mora. A ella me la asesinaron hace 2 años. A todas estas mamás que tienen aquí, que están buscando a sus hijos.
My name is Layla Hussein, and I'm a survivor of female genital mutilation. No one ever spoke to me about violence against women. I didn't even know I went through violence. I was told this was part of my culture, this was part of me. But actually what I went through, it's violence, it's child abuse. Today, my biggest rise will be those who passed because of this vile practice, and it needs to end, and we need to end all forms of violence against women and girls.
We are asking for justice. 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 We are asking for justice.
When we watch global activism happening at the scale that it happens in every country in the world, we are witness to something that is desire for change.
In that moment, at that particular time, the entire universe moved together. And I think that was like a shift. Wherever and however it happened, metaphorically, I felt like the world being together with different women representing each country, but the globe was actually together and dancing together.
ist heilig, das ist kein Freibrief für eure Missbrauch. Wir sind Lehrende, wir sind Heilende, wir sind wundervolle Wesen. Baila por amor, baila por vivir, baila por tus sueños y deja de sufrir. Baila por las calles para resurgir. Baila, rompe las cadenas, aquí estoy de pie. Bailando, 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 estoy de pie. Vision.
Know that the women have found our tools. We've recovered the ancient magic in our wombs. We remember the words and the ways the stories really go. We know the spells, the ways, the magic, the tools, the stories, the weapons, the manuals, the medicine. It never went anywhere. We know who we are and our bodies remember where we have been.
We're all here today because we know the stats. Worldwide, 1 in 3 women will be beaten or raped in her lifetime. 1 in 4 in the US will experience intimate partner violence, and every day, 3 or more women will die as a result. I think we can safely say that pretty much every woman has experienced street harassment at some point in her life, be it a whistle, a rude remark, or an unwanted touch. We rise for ourselves, for our survival and our own empowerment, but we also rise for each other.
It's frustrating to have to be here. It's frustrating to have to speak on something that is so basic. Women are humans, and you don't hurt humans. That's a really basic concept. It's something that children get. And we have moved so far away from our humanity that we're here.
I Stand United against rape because it's one of the most appalling offenses on earth. The rape uproots the victim's life, sense of safety, and emotional well-being long after the body heals. The painful imprint continues to shape her past, present, and future. As a community, we can remain helpless or stand united and say no more.
Being a woman means everything to me because I am one. It's how I exist in the world. This is my reality. So, of course, it's vital for me to step up and step out and make sure that my voice is heard because I am important and I do choose me every single day. And that's what events like this are all about. They're all about saying to women, you can choose you. You should choose you because you are important and your life matters and how you're treated in this world matters.
I was born in Wonju, South Korea, and growing up I heard stories about comfort women and the abuses that women had gone through in Korea as sex slaves. And it was kind of ironic, as an adult I wound up in becoming a sex worker myself and had to struggle a lot to escape that lifestyle and everything that came with it. Now I am the executive director of RLRI.org. And we do what we can to curb human trafficking through the travel and tourism industry because people are trafficked, especially women and children, around the world all the time. Horrific things happen every day right here in our own homes. And imagine how much more painful and how much more traumatizing that can be to be moved around the way that we are now internationally.
Men, firstly, can stop taking a position of silence in the face of violence, in the face of human trafficking, in the face of domestic violence. Men can stop taking silence that isn't about consent, but so often can be seen as that silent wink, nudge, we won't confront. Men can mentor the young men. I think a lot of what we deal with, particularly with reactionary abuse, is young men who are coming into a sexual peak, aren't quite defined, seem almost desperate, and make terrible choices that scar certainly the women that they abuse, but themselves as well.
I think we can empower girls by just exposing them to things that maybe they aren't being exposed to in everyday society. And that means having intentional and compensatory programming for things that they're not getting in school. That's what we do at Girls Inc. is really try to get them connected to things and expose them to STEM careers and encouraging them to take healthy risks in order to be ready and strong and to not even second guess themselves when it comes to being a strong person. Just being around all girls and teaching them to be allies to each other instead of competitors, it's a really powerful thing to see. And I'm so glad they got to come here and do this today because they were so excited to be here and they were just like, they learned all the moves and I'm really proud of them actually because this is kind of, some of them were nervous and they had so much fun. So we're gonna be back next year too.
I've been co-coordinating 1 Billion Rising Denver since its inception in 2013, so this was our third year, and it's been a really amazing thing to be a part of. Honestly, the most important part to me has been healing and empowerment. I think I mentioned up there that I am 1 in 3. I always knew my entire life that I was one of the lucky girls. I, went through my entire childhood and early adulthood and having never been hit, let alone, sexually assaulted or anything like that. And then a few years ago, I was out dancing with friends and rejected someone's advances, and he pinned me up against the wall and stuck a finger at me. So a big part of this for me has been working through that and processing it. And we're so conditioned in our culture to blame ourselves. And that is so sad to me because that was immediately what went through my head. What did I do wrong? Okay, I'm out with friends dancing, which is one of my favorite things to do in the entire world. And I was mad. I was mad because I felt like this dude kind of ruined dancing for me. And so that's another thing with 1 Billion Rising is reclaiming that. And I'm gonna cry. Just moving the trauma through our bodies is huge. And being here in a sisterhood of women and the men who support us and love us and don't do these awful things is so powerful. Yeah, and somebody just came up to me and said, I feel like I just had a therapy session. And that means a lot to me as an organizer, to hear that. And just the women who have reached out to me these last 3 years and allowed me to hold space for them and to listen to their stories and to hear them, that's what this is about for me.